Growing up, Halloween was one of my most favorite times of the year. It started off the holiday season, giving us scares and candy. Halloween specials and creepy episodes of my favorite shows played a big part of being a kid. Sometimes, these shows were able to push the boundaries and really leave kids traumatized, embedding these episodes in our minds. We're going through the top 10 most traumatizing, scary Halloween time episodes, in no particular order. First, we have the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, number 5. The Simpsons has always been iconic, having Halloween episodes every season. The earlier ones were definitely the creepiest, but this was the most traumatizing one. In the episode, Jimbo trips the cafeteria lady, causing her to fall, spilling all the food on him. The principal tastes it, then sends him to the cafeteria to clean it up. We hear Jimbo say it's hard to clean while you keep spilling meat tenderizer on me. We cut to the next scene of the teachers eating a weird looking burger. Jimbo isn't there the next day of school. Wanting more, the principal makes an excuse and sends one of the more plump kids to detention. The next day, they're eating meat based on the kid, even having the same name as him. The principal teases the other kids, alluding to them eating the kid. Bart and Lisa try to tell their mom, but she does nothing. The next day, most of the kids are gone, allegedly in detention. Lisa, Bart, and Milhouse, being the only ones left, sneak out. They find out the kids are being trapped in a cage until it's time for them to be turned into meat. The teachers find them, backing them into a corner where they fall into a blender. This episode was traumatizing as a kid to me, especially since it was about other kids. In the end, Bart wakes up and his family tells him there's nothing to worry about. Well, except for the fog that's turning people's skin inside out. We see the Simpsons' skin rip off with their veins sticking out as they dance and sing a song about the fog that turned their skin inside out. Next, we have SpongeBob SquarePants. The context of this episode was really creepy, and I'm surprised Nickelodeon let them create this episode. It started off as a regular day until Mr. Krabs realizes there's a health inspector at the Krusty Krab. The health inspector asks for one of everything. Towards the end of serving him food, Mr. Krabs sees a news report of someone posing as a health inspector, trying to get free food. Upset, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob taint the patty, making it more and more disgusting, even dropping it in the toilet. As the health inspector's about to eat the tainted patty, he chokes on a fly, hitting his head on the table, causing him to allegedly die. Once realizing he's dead, Mr. Krabs comes up with a plan for them to take his body and bury him. As Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob are finishing up burying the dead body, the police arrive, but are unaware of the situation. They give SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs a ride back to the Krusty Krab, but before they get into the car, the rain causes the body to slowly slide down the hill. They stuff the body in the cop's trunk. In the car ride home, Mr. Krabs hints to SpongeBob to store the body in the freezer. It's crazy thinking SpongeBob could ever be in a situation like this. Unable to unlock the back door, SpongeBob stuffs the body in his hat, trying to bring him through the front door of the Krusty Krab with the cops inside. Mr. Krabs starts becoming more and more erratic and aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Krabs has been in a situation like this before. After putting the body in the freezer, one of the cops wants to go in there for some ice. When they do, the health inspector's body is gone, but later he appears looking like a zombie. After realizing he was actually alive, SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs are relieved and no one has to pay any consequences of what they've done. This episode was insane and honestly made me look at SpongeBob differently. Even the most innocent people are capable of the most evil things. Next, we have Courage the Cowardly Dog. I limited myself with how many of these episodes we will put in here, but I will be releasing the top 10 creepiest Courage the Cowardly Dogs episodes later this month. This show has a lot of traumatizing but iconic episodes. The episode begins with robbers hiding the ancient relic by the farm. King Ramses appears, telling them to return the slab. He then has a bunch of bugs devouring the robbers and their car, leaving nothing left. Courage later finds the relic, bringing it home. They realize the relic is worth a lot of money and decide to keep it to sell it. Later that day, King Ramses shows up at their door. In a haunting voice, he tells them to return the slab or suffer his curse. They'll be visited by 3 plagues, each worse than the last, if they don't return it. The plague begins as the house starts to completely flood. Luckily, Courage finds a drain at the last second. Soon, the second plague begins, blasting an obnoxious sound. Courage finds the music player and turns it off. Eustace just still doesn't want to return the slab. The final plague begins and the man-eating bugs are back, devouring everything in their path. The bugs begin devouring the farmhouse. They give the slab back at the last second, saving their lives. Eustace, thinking King Ramses can't do anything else, tries to take the slab back. For this, Eustace was put into the slab, replacing King Ramses, and returned back to the museum. This show was so creepy and showed what cartoons can do besides being purely silly jokes. I would love for the show to come back. Next, we have Hey Arnold. The episode starts off with Arnold and Gerald having a sleepover, looking at their favorite book series. They stumble upon a pair of glasses. Arnold's grandpa recognizes the glasses and tells them a story about the owner, named Four-Eyed Jack. He lived in the cellar cooking allegedly beans that smelled really bad. Who knows what he was really cooking down there? His experiments kept getting bigger and crazier until he went so far, causing the pressure cooker to explode. Now his ghost wanders around the boarding house looking for his glasses, unable to pass on to the other side. Arnold's grandpa tells him, "You'll be hearing from Four-Eyed Jack now that you've disturbed his spirit by moving his glasses." Gerald is a non-believer, telling Arnold to forget about it. Arnold then hears a strange noise. Wondering if it's Four-Eyed Jack, him and Gerald go on a ghost hunt. When they think they found the ghost, it turns out to be something logical. The other house attendants slowly start to join Arnold looking for the ghost, wondering if the next strange noise could be him. Every time it ends up being something logical, with Gerald proving his point that there's always a logical explanation. They eventually come to the conclusion that the ghost isn't real. After everyone goes to bed, we get a POV of Four-Eyed Jack's ghost floating into the room, claiming his glasses. The ghost only appears to Gerald, being the only one to not believe in ghosts. He scares Gerald before deciding to move on. Gerald is just a kid, so I can only imagine being 10 years old waking up to a ghost in your face. He even checks his eyes only to still see the ghost. This show has a lot of other creepy episodes that leave the ending up for interpretation. Except for this one blatantly showed you that the ghost was real. Seeing this as a kid left me with an uncomfortable feeling, wondering if a ghost would wake me up in the middle of the night. Next, we have Adventure Time. Adventure Time has a lot of creepy, trippy episodes that we will be covering in a later video. This was one of my favorite shows that I think mastered the lore factor, making you want to know more. In this episode, Princess Bubblegum is recovering from being dropped in a demonic well. The Ice King tries to warn everyone he saw something strange happen. Everyone just disregards him. We cut to Finn and Jake waking Bubblegum up in her room. She has demonic glowing eyes. She lets out a deep, manly moan. When Peppermint Butler sees Princess Bubblegum, he hisses, noticing a demonic presence within her. Jake is eventually left alone with Princess Bubblegum as Finn goes off to get her some supplies. Princess Bubblegum kills all the flowers, then starts talking in a demonic tongue. The bed starts shaking, and then the whole room sets on fire. Princess Bubblegum starts to melt, reaching out for Jake as she calls his name. Jake runs to tell Finn. When they go back into her room, she's transformed into a demonic creature, growing in size. We find out she's been possessed by the Lich. They freeze Princess Bubblegum, however, her body tips over and breaks into a bunch of pieces. They piece her back together, but she was missing some of her pieces, so she comes back even younger. I think this episode was based on The Exorcist. This episode was super creepy with its depiction of demonic acts. Next, we have the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. The episode starts off with Billy looking for someone to play with. Everyone's turning him down, even Mandy telling him to play in traffic. He wishes on a star for someone to play with him. A star comes crashing down, revealing to be a singing meteor. The meteor tries to take Billy's brain, but realizes there's nothing there. He asks Billy to bring him some brains. Not fully understanding the situation, Billy brings his friends. The meteor sucks out all their brains, causing the meteor to grow, and everyone being under his control. Billy even brings him his family. After getting everyone in the town's brain, Billy brings the meteor Mandy. The meteor steals Mandy's brain, but the meteor disintegrates as Mandy takes control of the meteor. She then asks Billy to bring her some more brains. This show has a lot of creepy moments, but I think this one stuck with me the most. Let me know if I should do a video on this show. Next, we have Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls was such a great show that actually had plenty of creepy, mysterious moments. The episode Summerween is about how the town loves Halloween so much that they celebrate it twice a year. While about to go trick-or-treating, a tall figure appears at the door trying to trick-or-treat. Dipper slams the door on him. When Mabel re-answers the door, the figure says, "You disrespected me and you'll pay with your lives unless you bring me 500 pieces of candy before the last jack-o'-lantern goes out." The lanky monster called the Summerween trickster keeps antagonizing as they're running out of time. The gang gets enough candy, but it falls into a sewer. The monster confronts them, growing even bigger and bigger, growing more arms capturing them. They learn the monster is made out of candy no one wants. No one wants to eat the rejected candy, but now he's going to eat them. Luckily, Sue rips out of the monster's stomach, eating the candy. I love this episode, and the ending leaves you wondering even more, as they all recognize Halloween is about celebrating pure evil and laugh maliciously. This left me with an uneased feeling. Next, we have the show 16. This episode was what actually introduced me to the show. I think the show went under the radar, but it was pretty good. It was about a group of teens that worked at the mall. People at the mall are slowly turning into zombies, but not enough people are noticing. Two of the friends go to get a taco. When they bite into the taco, they notice there's a finger in it. They see a zombie attack someone and they try to warn their other friends. You don't usually see zombies in kids shows, and these ones were pretty gruesome, ripping each other's limbs off, seeing their necks break and snap. They all eventually link up and try to figure out a way to escape the mall. Looking back, this could have been more creepy if the characters actually took the situation seriously.
Wait a minute. Is that an arm you're holding?
It's not just anyone's arm, it's Talon's arm!
I like this one because I feel like most Halloween specials don't involve zombies. Next, we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. Team Avatar are in the dark woods telling ghost stories. Katara tells a chilling story about her mom. A snowstorm buried the village for weeks. Her mom hadn't seen one of her friends, Nini, since the storm. She went to go check on her, but when she got there, no one was home. Just the flicker of a fire. The men went to search, but her mom stayed at the house alone. She heard a voice whisper, "It's so cold and I can't get warm." She then turned and saw Nini by the fire. She went to go tell everyone, but Nini was gone. Nini's house stayed empty, but sometimes people would see smoke coming out of the chimney, as if Nini was still trying to get warm. Toph then says she hears people underground screaming. A creepy old woman appears. She introduces herself as Hama, then tells them they can stay in her inn. She explains to them they should be careful going out into the woods. People have been disappearing. The next day, while at the store, they hear locals talking about a delivery boy who disappeared on the full moon. They snoop around Hama's house and find creepy puppets. Later on, they talk to some locals. One explains during the full moon he had no control of his body, as if he was possessed. It forced him to walk towards the top of the mountain into a cave. Toph realizes this must be where she heard the screaming coming from. They break in and find the prisoners. They explain an old witch controlled them like a dark puppet master. Hama, now alone with Katara, explains in prison she learned that waterbenders can control blood. She taught herself by controlling rats and eventually used it on the guards. Katara figures out Hama's the one kidnapping people. Hama then controls Katara's body, bending her body in uncomfortable ways, laughing as she does it. When the rest of Team Avatar shows up, she bloodbends them, making Sokka almost stab Aang, forcing Katara to bloodbend Hama. This is ultimately what Hama wanted, to make Katara learn bloodbending. This was definitely the scariest episode from Avatar and really shows how great they are at storytelling. Finally, we have Courage the Cowardly Dog. The episode starts off with the family needing a new bed. They find a mattress special that says it will change their life forever. When they call, they already know their address, saying they've been waiting for them to call and send it for free. A deformed hunchback rat and a walking rattlesnake drop off the mattress. While bringing the mattress in, we see the face of a demon on it. When Courage goes to check on Muriel, we see a ghost go inside of her, floating her up into the air. Courage shows Eustace, and we see a possessed Muriel spin her head around until it breaks off, hitting the ground. Later, they hear strange noises and go to check on her. This is where we get one of the creepiest moments in the show.
Courage. Closer. Closer.
They find out if they repeat this incantation, they can get rid of the demon. However, the demon goes into Eustace. They tie him up in the bed and call the mattress company to take the mattress back. While doing so, they also take Eustace. I really don't know how this show was allowed to air on a kid's channel, but I lived for every moment of it. Thanks you guys so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, definitely check out some of my other ones.